Good morning, Biosol Nation. Dan Eberhard here with Eberhard Egg Solutions, of course, and we are here for our monthly dealer webinar. And I've got a very special guest. Well, I've got two very special guests, but first up, I'm going to mention Matt Maess from Glassland, Saskatchewan. Matt, you want to introduce yourself? Say good morning.
Good morning, everybody. Matt Maess here, Glassland, Sask. New dealer for Biosol. Rocking and rolling up here.
Rock and rolling up there. Well, I wanted to have somebody new on because it's like we all are just did like an epic type turn with three of our top dealers, hearing from them in a row, and I wanted to put on a soon-to-be top dealer, but a new dealer, and get that perspective. So that's good. And the other person that's joining us is a special guest, so special to us. Moves our boss all around. Graham McMurtry, say good morning.
Morning. I don't know if I'm a special guest, but I'll take it.
Depends how you define special. So I just have a really quick little update here. And I'm going to share this. Why is this? I need to bring out my keynote with the actual, let's see here. Okay, I need to bring up my, there we go. I'm going to share this other, I got a few quick slides here. We're going to be quick this morning because I know that everybody, it's a busy time of year, and I know a lot of people couldn't join us just by virtue of seating and stuff, but we wanted to make sure we kept the habit going here of our webinars, and we're going to record it. And of course, there's important timely information for people that are selling and spreading biosol as we go. So this is just a little snapshot of what I believe Terry will be seeding this this year. It's kind of cool. Always keeps a map in the war room there, so to speak. So today I just have a bit of an update. Graham's going to do an important update on logistics and a few things, and a new thing that we're launching today, Google Chat, or Google Group might be a better way to term it. And then we're going to have a little chat with Matt about his success he's been having here initially this spring. So feel free to message us at any time or text me. We always start off with safety, but safety is something that we should be doing 24/7, thinking about it, being cognizant about it. Matt, for you guys starting a new custom spreading business, how are you viewing safety and managing club route and things like that with your custom spreading business?
Well, we've gone ahead and done all of our TDG training. We're going to do the high vis and new work boots, so on and so forth. So I kind of came from the retail background. I worked retail for 16 years, and so safety was a pretty big thing out there. And so we're going to bring most of that across with maybe a bit more of a casual approach, but definitely want to make sure that everybody is hanging out, and because we're going to have family around, we got small kids too, so we want to make sure that everyone's safe.
And talk a little bit about that club route protocol that you were implemented. We heard about that at your meeting, and I really like that.
Yeah, you bet, because we have club routes in two of the RMs that we do business in. We run an independent agronomy business as well, so we're soil testing, tissue testing, and scouting in those areas. And so we have full club route sanitation protocol in place already. And when we got started and purchased our equipment, we actually put into the budget things like water tanks and pressure washers, whatever we needed to make sure that we can do a full sanitation when we leave one client to the next. And we've made that completely transparent to our people that are purchasing biosol, or if we're out there doing agronomy work, we let them know what that protocol is so that they understand that we're doing our part to try and be responsible with the disease and try not to spread it ourselves. It might be, it's not going to be perfect, but we're going to be as responsible as we can.
So to anyone that's getting objections with club route, I mean, we're doing our part to try and raise awareness and be proactive, and I was certainly talking with Mike about it at the pad. I'll show you guys some visuals. I took some drone footage at the pad. here the other day, but we did do a really great webinar with Dan Orchard, who's probably the expert in Western Canada on Club Root, talking about all aspects of it. We had 30 industry professionals and farmers and interested parties, stakeholders on the call asking lots of questions. Dan really illuminates the key things to do. It's extremely practical. It was a really enlightening conversation, and so we've formed a great relationship with Dan. Dan would be extremely willing to answer any and all questions and be a support for us. So if anybody has any questions or concerns about how to manage Club Root, reach out to me. I can reach out to Dan. And if your customers have questions about Club Root and stuff, you can share this webinar we did with them. And ultimately what we're trying to do here is just give some tools to handle the objections of Club Root in biocell, because we know that's a major concern. So thanks for that, Matt. Go ahead.
We face those comments and questions all the time about Club Root because it is around and it's so secretive, and we really wish that the industry would get a little bit more communicative about the disease. But we honestly on a daily basis face those questions and some of the negativity around it, and so we've tried to put a more positive spin on it, and then with our sanitation process, but also knowledge of the disease and having guys like Dan Orchard to lean on and rely on for that information. Just trying to educate the guys up here that there is things we can do about it.
Absolutely. It's something that is within our control. If anybody needs signs out there for your business, please let me know. And if anybody needs some swag for your business, please let me know. Matt, you got all the tools you need there, the literature and everything to do your business.
You bet.
Okay. And we have tickets to give away for Farm Progress, a limited amount, but let me know if you're interested in that. You just even send me a note on this webinar, and I can line up Allison to share that with you. So thanks, Allison, for arranging that and providing those to our dealers. Graham, you want to talk about what we're going to do with launching a Google group here, please?
Sure. Okay. Kind of been thinking about this for a while. Dan's kind of in another group there, Dirt Soil, and it's been working pretty good for them. So I went ahead and put together a Google group for our trusted applicators. It'll be basically Aberhart Ag Solutions employees in it. Elton Solberg will be probably checking in every once in a while with answering different questions when he can, but then it's going to be mostly just applicators talking amongst themselves and us there for support. Things that would be good to post in there, I think we'll have one group, basically people talking about their settings for their spreaders. So if somebody wants to go in and look at how people have their spreaders calibrated, if they're having issues with their calibrations, maybe someone has the same model, or you can just post into the group and say, I'm having troubles with this on my spreader, and maybe someone has the same spreader and they're maybe a little bit wiser, a little bit more experienced than you, and they can help you out. I got a couple other ideas that I have groups posted in there, or like subgroups. The way it works is it's all run through email. Anybody posts in there, you kind of get an email thread, and so you can look at it if you have time. If not, you can look at it later. Or there's a URL and you can sign into the group and you can go into all the different threads. But yeah, keep your eyes peeled on your email later today. I'm going to send it out, and I'll be moderating it. So please no verbal abuse to anybody who poses a not so great question in your mind. But yeah, I think it should be good. There'll be lots of valuable information on it once it kind of gets going. So yeah, watch your email, and it'll be going out probably today, right after this webinar.
So the why of that, thank you, Graham. The why of that is we want to have, a private, confidential space that dealers and the distributor, being us, can communicate about important things when it comes to agronomy, business, spreading, competitive info, anything under the sun. But it's going to be private, it's going to be confidential, it's going to be moderated, it's going to be respectful, it's going to be courteous, it's going to be clean, and it's going to be helpful. And it's all about the level of engagement from you guys. So I'm really looking forward to that. I hope it has value for you guys, and it'll be a way for us to, another way for us to push information to you as well when it comes to anything under the sun. BioCell. I am contemplating having another Trusted Applicator Summit in June, but I think what I'm going to do is reach out to the network in the form of a survey and litmus test the appetite for such an event and determine not only how hungry is everybody to get together again this summer, but number two, what would you really like to see? And I think in my mind, the vision for a summer summit would be a real return to nuts and bolts education on the sales side, the business side, and the spreading side of BioSol, whereas January was a little bit higher level, 30,000 foot view, vision, and strategy. If we're going to run 2 summits a year, I'm thinking the summer one will be more practical, hands-on, and the winter one would be more about what have we done, where are we at, where are we going, a little bit more strategic vision, my kind of idea. But we'll see what the appetite is for a summer summit. Rockfoss, we have some Rockfoss product that's going to be available at some point here, I'm told, for people to try out with their customers, try out for trials. So if you're interested, let me know about that. And also if you're interested in mixing in some potash or something, I'd like to work with you and your customers on that. Just a note on the pricing. So as many of you know, we're running an early order pricing for dealers in April for the fall. That's way in advance of the early order pricing that's going to come out in June for customers. And so that's where a lot of dealers are maximizing their volume and all that, and their price for wholesaling dealers. So in June, basically the prices are going to reset again and do the same thing they've done. We get a lot of good feedback about our pricing, so I don't think we're going to change anything. How's the pricing setup been working for you, Matt?
It's been really good, and the conversations that we've had over the last 3 months, we've had a lot of conversation going into fall of 2019 as well, trying to plan far ahead, because most guys kind of had their sulfur needs looked after for spring of 2019, but we have tons of interest for fall. And when we kind of lay out how the pricing works, it raises eyebrows, and they really, it's way different than a retail where that price can change at any moment, unannounced to a customer. This here is so transparent. They can look at it at the website. I can give them a sheet of paper and they can make a decision to buy on whatever month their cash flow is the best. And this is a huge, huge tool for us. Absolutely.
Love it. And are you doing any pricing at the 3-year rate?
We have a couple of guys interested in the 3-year strategy on rented acres. It's interesting. You know, they will talk about it. We actually had one individual for certain that we talked about the 3-year strategy on his rented land, and then a 5-year strategy on his owned. And then at the end of the day, he actually bought the 5-year strategy for all of it. So, and his idea was, you know what, I know what I've got invested in my sulfur, and if my landlord decides that he doesn't want me to farm it in 3 years, I can show him what I've got invested in the last 2, and we can make a deal. So, but I like the 3-year strategy for sure. It's a good conversation point on rented acres. And so that'll be a tool for us going forward as well.
Good work. Good work. Hey, everybody in the BioCell Nation, listen, we're simplifying our payment terms here. We want to make it easy to do business. And I think, to be fair, the impetus of the 3 different payment, times, like I think it was 40 and then 30 and then 30%. I mean, we're just trying to get our butts covered when we're sending out product from the pad. But I think that given, largely we're dealing with dealers who are dealing with their customers, anybody that's buying from us, we're hoping that our trusted applicators have a good sense of where they stand with cash and have dealt with them before, and we're not getting any shysters. You know, when product leaves the pad, we've bought it. Anything that is in this pile I'm going to show you guys, we have bought. We owe Toronto for. So, you know, we want to keep this simple. We want to keep it easy. We recognize how people are used to paying, and there's lots of companies out there we're competing with that are making payments really easy. So we have to step up our game and be super simple. If cash flow is a concern, but they want to do biosol, let's have a talk about when they might be able to make a down payment, or what the down payment could be and what the payment concerns could be. We just sold a bunch of product here on different terms just by tweaking things and making things a little bit better for the producer. We need to lubricate the sale and the flow of biosol to our customers. So we're going back to 40% down, 60% when it's getting delivered. But I guess what I'm asking the network is, you know, we're going to be sending invoicing out by the truckload, and really, if we're sending you the fertilizer, it'd be great if we can pretty much get a check when the truck comes. If it's delivered, it's due. And as a matter of standing policy, anything that's getting trucked out of the pad, we're invoicing by the load now, which I recognize might be quite a big difference for a lot of people, and we should be having those conversations. But instead of just sending you an invoice 2 months later that says, well, you took 1,500 metric tons and you don't know who it went to, it's a pretty big deal to know who got trucked what load. I think it's going to be a lot of invoices for some of our dealers, but it's also going to be really fruitful in terms of tracking. I don't know if you want to talk about that, Graham, your new process, but you're going to be sending out an invoice for every load.
Yeah, it's just going to be quicker. Like I know in the past, this is more for volume dealers, but even I guess for other customers, too, like sometimes we wouldn't get around to invoicing for like a month and a half for people. I mean, they just get an invoice, because I used to do the tracking of the loads, and then someone else would do the invoicing. So now I'm doing the invoicing, and scale tickets wouldn't go out with the invoices, so people would just get like an invoice, be like, you took 159.58 tons, and the customer's probably like, so if they were there to unload the trucks and everything, they got the bills of lading and they got the scale tickets, but most of the time they're just like, okay, I guess that's correct. So now I'm going load per load. You're probably getting an invoice in the morning or the next day, because I get the scale tickets the next day, and then they'll have the scale ticket connected to the invoice and load per load. And then, as I understand it, that's how most fertilizer businesses work.
Yeah, it's just like year 4. We're just starting to do what everybody's done in the fertilizer industry for 100 freaking years. But I mean, I hope it goes well. And, you know, if anybody's got any feedback, but I think more detail is better. And it's going to help us track things way better. Like in QuickBooks, we're going to have analytics on everything and easily be able to track things. It's kind of like blockchain. Instead of taking 6 days to find the paperwork, we're going to be able to find it in 6 minutes, right, Graham?
Absolutely.
I love how Graham just agrees. But keep in mind that we've got FCC and Scotiabank as tools, guys. And whatever we need to do, if we got good customers that are saying, I would love to use this product, I just simply do not, you know, have the cash flow right now, and you know they're going to be good for it. Let's talk about that. I'm going to stop this share. I'm going to give you guys a new share here and share with you. I flew my new drone and some heavy duty winds here. How do I get this? Oh, there we go. Out at the pad the other day. So there's my truck. This is just at the scale house. You guys hopefully can see this okay. So you see a truck in the bottom right-hand corner here, coming in, nicely tarped. I think I actually flew back here. So that's the scale house here. I actually didn't get that great of a shot of the scale house, but here they're just working with some reclaimed dirt and mud that comes out of wash bays and stuff, and they just are turning it to get the contaminants out, and then that gets landfilled. So that's just another function of the composting pad that they're doing. Bear with me, it'll be a little bit herky-jerky getting over here, but this is of course where they're bringing the raw sulfur in from wherever it's coming, and it immediately gets blended off with compost to keep the flammability down. And then here is the pile that we purchased on behalf of our dealers and our future customers that I'm talking about, that we want to invoice out truckload by truckload as we send product out from the pad. So yeah, this is the Eberhard egg pile that's purchased on behalf of you guys. Many dealers have bought in and own a portion of this pile as well. There's about 150,000 acres worth of biosol here. And our pile's probably going to get to 20 to 25,000 metric tons at some point this summer. So pretty cool stuff anyways. For anybody. Matt, you've never been to the pile, eh?
Well, I've not been down there yet, but this sure love to go.
Yeah, so you can see this pretty good on your screen via the magic of the internet.
You bet.
Okay, so that's the general idea. All good. Graham, did you have a little bit of an update on logistics here for everyone?
Yeah, trucks are flying around everywhere. All over the place. So yeah, if you have something really urgent, let me know, and that we can move a truck around. Like, not everyone that I'm delivering to is, I'm not just feeding spreaders right now. So yeah, if you have something urgent, let me know and we can move it. I mean, 4 days notice you can give me, the better. But yeah, I don't see any issue getting you a truck in 24 hours or 6 hours sometimes. So yeah, everything's in full swing. Keep selling. I'll keep moving it.
Keep selling and keep going. So let's just get into it a little bit here with our star guest here, Matt Maess, and his beautiful wife, Joy, part of the business. And I guess I don't know that we had a photo of Tristan, your son, who's also going to be part of the business. Just warms my heart that you guys are family business, but I'll just throw a couple slides up here before we get into our conversation. So the reason that I wanted to have Matt on this webinar is because Matt's been a huge advocate as an agronomist of biosol for a good period of time, and he made the decision to come on board as a trusted applicator over the winter here. And they went through great efforts to get a machine going, invest in a machine, and service their customers. Matt held a great meeting in his garage for some 50 producers, I would say. And we had Elston out to speak at it, and the response was excellent. And here's a look at the machine that's been purchased to do the work. This is a machine from Jeff Brand formerly, so they're all set up. You got a conveyor there and everything, and ready to rock. Here's a picture of Matt in the field. So I'm just going to get out of this. And Matt, just tell us a little bit about this, your business, how it's looked so far, getting here, and now what you're envisioning going forward here with biosol being part of your business.
So we started an independent agronomy business. We partnered with AgriTrend about 4 years ago. And about 2 years ago, we have in our top 12 inches a lighter sandy loam soil. So our CECs are 15. Sometimes we've got land with CECs around 7 or 8. And so we needed to find a way to manage our mobile nutrients much better. And so we actually sent the question out to the network. We had a guy interested in some Tiger 90. We had no idea that biosol even existed at that point in time. And that summer of 2017 is when we got the call from Dan and Elston and introduced us to biosol. And we absolutely fell in love with the product right off the bat. The nature of it, what it does, the price, 5-year program. In the words of Elston, that drip effect of just feeding the crop and keeping our nitrogen to sulfur ratio strong all through the growing season. This product for this area up here just has such a great fit agronomically that it's almost like everything else just kind of falls into place. The growers, when we talk about it, with them. They understand our soils and they understand what it can do for them. And the uptake of the product has been probably more and as hard as we can go. I just can't believe how fast it's taken off. We weren't anticipating it to be quite this good, but we're happy that it is.
High quality problems, brother. Well, the amazing thing is that you got 4,500 acres sold this spring as a new dealer, which is very, very, very impressive. And what always interests me too is we have a lot of agronomists that look at the business, but they don't want to get into it because they feel like there might be an issue with their independent advice at the same time. And you've come through that evolution as an agri-trend agronomist. Now you're an independent agronomist that people are still paying you for your advice, but you are offering this fertility solution. Can you tell me a little bit about how your thinking evolved on that over time?
So it definitely was a conversation that my wife and I had. But we are agronomists first. And when we go and talk to a guy, whether it's about if they're an agronomy client or if it's a guy that we've targeted to go and talk to about biosol, we typically will sit down with him and we'll look at their existing sulfur program. We'll talk about their crop rotation. And at the end of the day, the agronomy is first. But it seems that when we have that approach of openness and communication about it, whether they buy biosol or not, it gives them that confidence that we're not there to as a salesperson, but we're there as a person that believes in what they're doing on their farm. And then the next thing you know, they're like, well, maybe let's try a load, and then we'll promise to come out and we're going to do a couple of independent tissue tests this summer for guys just to show them side by side and then see where that goes.
Well, that's the interesting thing to me is how this product is getting sold, and nobody wants to admit that they're actually a salesperson in the agronomy camp, in my experience. Because it seems like sales is maybe a bit of a dirty word to some of us that we associate with used car salesmen. But it's really you're providing advice, I guess. So take me a little bit through that process when you sit down with someone and look at their current program. What are you seeing? How are you advising them? And how do you plan to work them through end to end to really change their whole fertility program with biosol?
So when we sit down with the grower and we start looking at what they're currently doing in their crop rotation, we try and key a little bit on a couple of takeaways by asking them some questions. What's the most important to them in their current program? Is it agronomy? Is it logistics? Are they trying to get more acres out of their drill? Are they having troubles with blends caking in their bins and getting it out, or caking in their drill and causing issues? So once we can kind of figure out their top two trouble spots or their top two priorities in their fertility program, then we key on that. And if it's price, we sit down and we map out what their current price is on their program, and we show them what biosol's price would be. And once you put that down on a piece of paper side by side, most guys, they don't even quibble about the upfront cost of a 5-year program for 154 pounds of sulfur. They just write the check because they see that 5-year amortization. But so quite simply, we just try and key on their top two priorities in their program. And once we know what that is, we can dissect that for them and we discuss it. And it's kind of like it's a trust level, right? And we believe so wholeheartedly in elemental sulfur. When we believe in it and talk about it confidently, then the grower feels confident that the product's going to work for him.
You make a great point, and I think customers can quickly sense your commitment level and the level that you're convinced about this product, and obviously you guys believe in it. wholeheartedly. So when you guys change a customer from their regular regime, and if you want to fill us in on typically what guys are doing up there, what the 80% that counts would have it as a regular sulfur regime. Maybe it's like 75 pounds of AMS in a 5-year period. And then how do you get them from there? Are you changing the rest of their fertility in light of biosol? Is it a whole paradigm shift, or you just change that one thing?
So usually it's just the sulfur portion of the program. With our agronomy clients, I'll key on those guys with this one, because for a guy that we're going onto his farm just to talk about biosol and we're not doing any agronomy work, that's maybe a tougher question to answer, because we're just going to replace his sulfur. And he's not paying me to adjust any other part of his nutrient program. But with our agronomy clients, all of our guys that have moved or are talking about moving to biosol, we've already moved them to split applying their nitrogen as well, because of our light sandier loam soils. So, and even in moving to split applying the nitrogen, we are using products like Super U, ESN, crop specific. If it's hard red spring wheat, we're using a 50-50 ESN urea blend, trying to feed that hard red and push protein as hard as we can. But we also understand, we've been working on our hard red wheat up here for about 3 years, trying to get our guys, we've got targets this year, 75 bushel, 14% protein hard red wheat. And we strongly believe that biosol is going to be that last piece of the puzzle. We're split applying the end. We've got a 50-50 mix of ESN in there. And now with elemental sulfur, maintaining that N-to-S ratio right through into reproduction and seed set, we strongly feel that our protein mark is going to be hit this year. And we can actually go forward with a confident plan on hard red spring.
So when you're talking about biosol and sulfur and different nutrients in your program with the producers, what are some of the key tools that you're using? You're using soil tests, you're using tissue tests, are you using power zones, things like that? How do you go? What's in your toolbox?
So we have every field that we soil test has a power zone on it, and we're soil testing in the predominant zone in that field, the most representative zone. So we've got that nailed down. We're using yield mapping as much as we can, and we're actually transitioning 100% of our acres this year to yield mapping. We're working with all our guys to get that going. So we soil test 3 depths, 0, 6, 6, 12, and 12 to 24. And then we have a full-on tissue test program. June for us is so busy because we are running like crazy pulling tissues, because our tissue test is our report card. We want to know, especially on the acres that we've transitioned to biosol, if it's a spring application, we want to just make sure that our crop is picking up that sulfur that's needed. And just to show guys, especially in that first year, that we've got everything that we need. So soil testing, zoning, yield mapping, tissue testing, crop health imagery. We refer to crop health imagery quite often, every couple of days. And then in-season scouting, just keeping an eye on visual symptoms. But it's a full-on approach with our agronomy clients, just to show that the nutrients, the whole package that we've thrown at that crop is working the way that it's supposed to at the end of the day. It's not just sulfur. For us, it's a balance. We've got to balance our P and our K as well. We've got some guys that have incorporated zinc into the program. So it's a whole balance, and that's why biosol is such a huge fit, is because we can keep that balance throughout the entire growing season. Whereas ammonium sulfate in a mid-row band, we might be able to rely on it till late July, but that late season push at the end of July and into August, that can be a really critical time for us.
Interesting. So you were not selling biosol last year, but you were recommending biosol last year with a number of your customers, and we sent some product up there, and we went up and did some spreading. I can't remember frankly who did the spreading for you at that time.
We had Greg Orchard from Borden came up and did the spreading. We did almost 3,000 acres last year. We had a couple of agronomy clients that we talked to about the product, and the one client, it was actually they agreed with the agronomics part of it, but for them it was more the logistics. And so they're a perfect example of they were having troubles with their sulfur supplier, caking in their drill. They were just tired of messing around with plugged runs and wasting time. And so once we introduced biosalt to that farm, they actually were able to start buying all of their other nutrients as raw product and put it into exclusive tanks on the drill and blend it with their controller. So there's no more blends at that farm. It's all raw product in the bins.
Love it. So can you tell us what we're looking at here and why this matters to the Biosol Nation?
So this is canola. Last spring, this product got applied on this field last spring, about mid-May. This was probably one of the nicest canola fields that we had. When we pulled the tissues on this field at about the 5-leaf stage, we had sulfur levels right at the high range. This crop absolutely impressed the grower and the neighbors around. It from corner to corner was just perfect. And we know agronomically that sulfur is one of the most variable nutrients that we have on any given field. And this field, just the low spots in the hills, it was just an amazing crop.
Well said. That's a good news story, man. That's beautiful. I feel a little tear here.
Well, and the big thing with Biosol, the nice thing that I like about Biosol over Tiger 90 is that we know we're going to get release in the springtime. So if logistics and if we run out of time in the fall, or if the grower decides throughout the winter that Biosol is going to be a fit for them and they want to move some acres to that in the spring, we know we're going to get release. Tiger 90, we've worked with it a little bit, and we also are getting release in the spring, but the risk level is much higher with a T90 type program. Whereas we know with Biosol up here, I have 5,000% confidence that our spring applied Biosol is going to work.
Yeah, well, and you guys are also dealing with the moisture to make sure the release is there too, so that's a factor. I think the only place that we're having some concerns with some of our dealers, it's completely warranted, is if guys are going to be applying quite late after seeding, and we don't have the moisture to get that chain reaction going. Another thing that I want to ask you about, Matt, is entering the business. I mean, you could have entered at a lower risk point. We could have partnered with somebody or looked at different ways to get your spreading done. Tell us why you decided to make the very serious investment. I mean, you put cash on the line to buy iron, before you had the business, and invest in a piece of iron that can cost you money, and it's a bit of an unknown. Why did you decide to go in with the spreading, and why is it important to your business?
Well, we, as a family, we sat down and we thought, let's discuss this a little bit. And our son Tristan is 20, he's turning 21 in the fall. And we just felt that it was going to be a really good fit to bring him on board, give him a bit of direction and something to work towards. And maybe an opportunity that, some of us at our age didn't have 20 years ago. And the other part of it that was huge for us is our motto as Eastern Sky Ag Consulting is precision, where precision meets agronomy. And so we try and do things as precisely as we can. And so we felt, if I'm going to sell a farmer a load of biosol, I want to be the guy that oversees that precise application. So between Tristan and I, we can make sure that his money that he spent is being applied properly. We can collect the data. We can have as applied data stored for the guy. We can keep track of what year it got applied and what acres it's on, so that everything is just, it just felt much more complete if we did all of it ourselves. We just, not that we wouldn't trust another applicator coming in to do it, we would collect the data from them, but we seriously felt that if we were going to do this, we needed to go all in.
Well, I'm really proud of you guys, and I'm really honored to be working with you, and I'm really excited about what you're doing as a new dealer, and it just absolutely warms my heart when you guys talk about the why that you got in the business, and when you guys talk about having a family business. We're growing a family business too with people like yourselves, and it's a great honor. I think it's something special. So thanks for everything that you've done and you're about to do, and I'm excited about your success. It's massive, and I think you're going to have a really strong fall. You're on a good path here. So with that, I think we'll wrap up the webinar. But is there anything you want to share with your fellow trusted applicators about joining the family before we sign off?
It took us a couple of years to join up, and I know Dan, man, he phoned us so many times, and Lloyd, he's not with us anymore, but he was up here lots talking, and we really, I think our probably our number one key to success is that we believe in the product, and we know lots about it. We've done tons of research. We have tons of tissue test data already from our local Glasgow area. And so we can confidently walk onto any farm in this area and talk about biosol to a guy. And so that's probably been the hugest key, is just getting it on the ground, getting started, getting some tissue test data collected for your local area, so that you can walk onto another guy's farm and say, look, this is what's happening here.
Good work, my man. Thanks so much for everything. I appreciate it. And to everybody in the Biosol Nation, good luck spreading, good luck seeding, and thanks for your business. We appreciate it, and we'll make sure to keep you up to date. Hopefully the Google groups, the Google chat will be fun. I'm sure we'll see you on there, Matt. If you have any questions about getting spreading, there's lots of people with new leader boxes too in the network, and we'll be up there to help you get set up as you spread your first biosol commercially in the area next week. Should be fun. Get the drone out and get some footage. Should be good. Yeah. Thanks everybody for attending. I know it's a busy time of year. Good luck out there, and thanks for being part of the Biosol Nation. We'll be talking to you soon. I'll be sharing this recording with everybody so they can watch it at their leisure in the cab or at home or by the fireplace with the rum. Thanks, Matt, and say hi to your wife and Tristan for me as well.
Yeah, you betcha. Have a good day, everybody.
Appreciate it. Thanks so much. Bye for now.